Alrighty, so we've got some position battles to look out for in this matchup on November 15th of 2025 in Tuscaloosa, Alabama in Bryant-Denny Stadium for Alabama, Oklahoma. Chad Tierney, we'll go ahead and start with you for the position battles to look out for. Then we'll go to Josh and we'll go to Travion, and I'll go last.
All right. For me, it's come down. It really comes down to our corners against their receivers, and I think for specifically because if Oklahoma wants to create what again, not to jump to keys to the I guess keys to victory. Have we gotten the keys to victory?
Not yet.
I don't think we have. Okay.
Not officially.
Okay. I don't want to jump too far ahead, but for one of my keys to victory, I will just say that being able to blitz and get out of zone defenses against Ty Simpson is going to be big. And if you're to be able to do that, you're going to have to be able to man up on the outside. And as good as Cortland Guillory's been as a true freshman, again, I think he's going to be another corner for Oklahoma. He's going to be a fresh, if not first team, second team All SEC freshman, All American. He's extremely good, played really, really well. The thing with Alabama is there's just so many of them. Like there's no real break. And I know that maybe maybe if you're covering Alabama week in, week out, it's different. But I know from the outside, the Ryan Williams hasn't had you don't fear him, if that's the right term, as you did coming into the game last year. But there's a lot that goes into that. And I think that he plays hard. He's a really good receiver. But at the end of the day, he's an all-world talent and extremely good. And what's wild is I'm not sure Bernard isn't even better. And then you got your tight end that you go to over and over, who's at least the games I've seen being extremely consistent. So for Oklahoma to be able to play, and again, like good defense, you're going to get busted by those guys. They're too good to just, it's like a Cam Coleman or Jeremiah Smith type thing. When you have Ryan Williams or guys that are that good, you're going to get beat sometimes. But can you make that the exception rather than, the rule for the game? And for me, that's such a big deal because it allows you to open up your Venables loves to do a lot of exotic looks on the back end. He loves to bring a lot of pressures. And if you're able to at least get consistent coverage, especially for the quick game areas, then that's going to really help Oklahoma's defense starting out the game and hopefully ending it too.
That was my first choice too, was that seeing how our corners and our safeties are going to do, because Eli Bowen did do a good job on Ryan Williams last year. I mean, the touchdown was called back, thankfully, but other than that, he did a very good job on him, but he's just not the only weapon that you guys have. So that's something that we were kind of exposed with Tennessee, is we gave up a lot of long passes, but again, we could shut down the run game. So again, hoping to make Alabama one-dimensional. Again, it goes back to I just believe in the defense. So my biggest matchup to see is really just how well the offensive line is going to continue to hold. It is worrisome when you have 2 to 3 true freshmen out there. They're doing a fantastic job and they're working as hard as they can, but at the same time, you're going against experienced veterans. And yep. I just hope they could just continue to improve and to just play with heart, because that's really where I worry, because if everything collapses up front, then we have zero shot. I hate to say it, your run game's not going to go, the passing game's not going to be there because your quarterback's not going to have time, and that's what we saw a lot last year. So just hoping that they can just continue to fight in the trenches.
Yeah, I think kind of going along with what Chad was mentioning with really how your DBs, I think Oklahoma's DBs, when you're talking position battles against each other, the DBs against Alabama's wide receivers, because Alabama has been an extremely good passing team, and a lot of that comes from Ty Simpson. So not just going down to the DBs, but I want to pick on Ty Simpson, and I think that the biggest battle will be Ty Simpson against Brent Venables' disguises that he throws out there, because I think every offensive coordinator looks at Brent Venables' defenses and they try to figure out what he's doing this week compared to what he did last week. But Brent Venables doesn't run the same thing 2 weeks in a row. And so, a lot of offensive coordinators have to figure that out, give that to their quarterback, and then they have to expect their quarterback to be able to see that and read that in real time. That's extremely difficult. And so I think picking on Ty Simpson as a young quarterback, a guy who doesn't play like a young quarterback, he plays like he's a veteran, and he's been extremely good all season long. But I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think this is now Alabama's toughest defense that they've gone against now this season as well. And so, especially with Brent Venables trying to mix those schemes up, you'll see a lot of stunts. You'll see a lot of a lot of guys stepping up as if they're going to come in on a blitz, and then they end up dropping back into coverage type of stuff. So it's going to be a defense that you just can't prepare for, because, like I said, Brent Venables will switch it up to where he won't have the same singular same look from last week that you're going to get into this week. And so I think that's going to be really, really telling to see how Ty Simpson responds to that.
Well, we'll wait for Travion to get connected back up in just a little bit. Yep. But
I think just to jump off that just real quick, I think that the Ty Simpson thing is so big because rarely our team, the first thing you hear all the time is, what do you do when you go play a big game? You make a team one-dimensional. Alabama's one of the only teams I can think of that makes themselves almost one-dimensional on purpose and still finds a way to win games over and over and over again. And the only way that I could think, and like you had mentioned with the rushing, is you look, I mean, not that it's the same Alabama team at all. They're much better, but I think the blueprint is the only loss you've had. You got to be able to hold them to the rush yard. And it was almost carbon copy of what Oklahoma did last year. You have over 250 yards rushing for Oklahoma to less than, I think, like 60 or something for Alabama, maybe less than that even. But that's what Florida State was able to do. Now, again, Ty Simpson isn't going to make the same mistakes Milroe did. He's a better quarterback, especially with his arm talent. But for me, it's such a big deal to be able to blitz him and put him in different looks on the back end to get turnovers and what's going to, I really think, give you a chance to win the game. But
well, and I think personally, if we could put a stop to John Mateer, put some pressure on him, I think we're good to go. Defensive ends versus how Mateer is playing, like that's going to be a position battle to look out for, because we saw what Bama did to Bo Pribula. They put enough pressure on him. That was a key to victory right there. And we put a ton of pressure on Tennessee. That helped us right there. Put enough pressure on Garrett Nussmeier to the point where LSU was thinking, you know what, we're going to bench him for Michael Van Buren. We're done with this Nussmeier era or the Garrett Nussmeier experience.
Tell me if I missed. Oh, go ahead, Josh. My bad.
I was just saying, to that point too, with Oklahoma's offensive line, I think a lot of Oklahoma fans think that this offensive line just hasn't been good all season long because of the sack numbers, and I think a lot of opponents, come in looking at Oklahoma the same way. They just see the sack numbers, and that's it. When you break it down and see how long it is before those sacks, Oklahoma averages more than 4. I know it's more than 4 seconds. I forget the exact number now, but more than 4 seconds per sack, which is like top 5, top 8, top 10 in the nation. And so they even though they're allowing those sacks, what that tells me is John Mateer holds on to it too long. And so I like that you bring that up as a position battle there, Jackson, because that's definitely one that John Mateer needs to be able to get that ball out quickly.
Yeah, because if he doesn't, he's in big trouble.
Exactly.
But a nice win for Justin Jefferson and LT Overton and Yahtzee Pierre and company. Right then and there.
Can I ask you a question about LT Overton? Is he, like beginning of the year, I thought he was going to jump out and really be a guy, quote unquote. And maybe, admittedly, when you're not watching it every week, maybe I just haven't noticed. Has he been the star that, or am I just kind of thinking he was going to be better, more hype preseason than he actually was? But has he been the player that Alabama fans have wanted him or hoped he would be coming into this year?
I think so, yeah. And I think Keeley has been a guy to look out for as well. Now, Justin Jefferson has been a guy that's really moving up. And, it was nice seeing him get a piece of that pie against Missouri.
No, it wasn't. It really wasn't nice seeing that at all.
It's tough hearing another Justin Jefferson in the SEC doing well.
LSU,
LSU wide receiver. So yeah, it's tough hearing Justin Jefferson because you're going to fear him no matter who it is that you're going against.
Right.
Just one of those names.
And he's good. Like that's not.
Yeah.
Good. I will say that Oklahoma, I believe, has only given up 33 sacks so far, or something like that.
Oh,
Or no, 20.
yeah.
Wait, 20 sacks, I think.
Yeah, they're not giving up that many stats.
We gave up like 55 last year, by the way, just for Oklahoma fans to hear that and remember what we came through. We've been through. This is green pastures compared to the barren desert we walked through last year. Hopefully it continues to continue to go well.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens.
For Oklahoma, sorry, I can hear you. Well, yeah. I'm just saying for Oklahoma, I'm interested. Josh, have you heard or T anything with R. Mason Thomas? I know that he had the quad injury.
Still no real news on him. I think we'll probably know more by Wednesday.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
gotcha.
I think we'll get an official update on our guys for Alabama and Oklahoma because that's when usually the injury availability report comes out.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll definitely wait and see. And Trevion will be right back. He's getting his mic situation fixed.
Yeah.
But yeah, another position battle I'm definitely looking at is Oklahoma versus Alabama's run game. Where the defensive ends can really just put enough pressure on Alabama's run game, and that puts Alabama in trouble for sure. Because there again, we've not done so well on the run game on offense this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's just been ugly. So.
I was going to say that's what's been interesting to me because Alabama coming into the year had such a stacked, it seemed like, offensive line with Caden Proctor coming back and a couple of those guys that you thought they would really. And I would like to hear Trevion his opinion on this, but I hate that I don't have the name, but that number 4 running back to me looks like a guy that I don't know. Listen, I don't know. I don't follow the team obviously. I don't know if he has issues that I don't know about or what, but it seems like he's a guy that at least is more of a punisher of a runner. And he seems like he's getting yardage every time he touches the ball at least. Similar for Oklahoma fans like an Xavier Robinson for us, I think he's 21 now, but it just seems he's always falling forward and getting tough yards where when you're struggling with offense, going from, 1 yard to just falling forward and getting 2, I mean, that helps a lot. I'm curious, your thoughts on that. Am I crazy or is that something even Bama fans have seen a little bit of?
Yeah, first and foremost, my apologies. I don't know why I had an audio issue, but I'm gonna get to that. But some of my matchups for when looking at Oklahoma is the main matchup for me just goes is up front in the trenches. Oklahoma has a talented defensive line, talented defensive period. But when you look at that defense, the name that stands out to me is Taylor Wynn, a 6'4", 275-pound sophomore. He's obviously been disruptive. 28 tackles on the season, 11 of those tackles for loss, and 3.5 sacks. So I look at this Alabama offensive line, which our offensive line has been rotating all throughout the season. Still no set 5. I don't know why that is per se. But still no set 5. So when you look at Oklahoma's defensive line, they also have another defensive lineman, Mason Taylor, the senior, 6'2", 249, 249 defensive lineman, 6.5 sacks on the season. So getting those two guys blocked up and shored up, so Ty Simpson can have time to stay upright and get the ball to a lot of Alabama's playmakers. That's definitely key because the reason why Ty Simpson was off last week, in my opinion, versus LSU, it was just simply everything was sped up. Alabama traditionally they haven't given up a lot of sacks up front on the offensive line this season, but Saturday they kind of had one of the lesser performances. They gave up around like 2.5 sacks, I believe. So a lot of that. So getting those two defenders blocked up front for Oklahoma, that's going to be key. But getting back to the Daniel Hill piece, his name is Daniel Hill, 6'3", 240-pound running back Alabama has. He's a good runner of the football. He always falls forward. He can be a threat out the pass game, catching the ball out of the backfield and stuff like that. But Alabama has kind of gone through a running back by committee thing, and initially that started with Jam Miller starting out the year. Alabama's feature back, started out the year with a shoulder injury, missed the first 4 games, and Alabama been trying to work him back in, but just haven't had the rhythm up front to get a consistent run game going. But when Daniel Hill has been in the game, he has produced. Not saying Jam Miller hasn't, but Daniel Hill, he's just a big body back that can run in between the tackles, can run outside of the tackles, and catch the ball out the backfield. So I feel like he's definitely going to get his fair share of the load Saturday. So that's definitely a player that could get that running game going for Alabama. But overall, like I said, getting those two forces blocked up front, Taylor Wynn and Taylor Wynn and Mason Taylor, getting those guys blocked up front and giving Ty Simpson time to distribute the ball to the weapons that we have. So those are kind of my matchups, and obviously heard you talking about it too, Jackson. Have to just continue to put pressure on John Material. Alabama has Yonze Pierre. He's been their best sack artist, as you would say. He's been their most productive pass rusher on getting to the quarterback and just generating pressure and stuff like that. So definitely want to just contain John Mateer and make him beat you with his arm, because you saw Tennessee was doing that at first a little bit before Oklahoma went on the bye, but still the same. John Mateer still was able to get loose and show off some of that athleticism and ability to run with the football. So containing John Mateer and just blocking up front and stopping that monstrous Oklahoma defensive line, that's definitely going to be key for Alabama to come out victorious. Yeah.
That is for sure, man. I am so excited about these position battles to look out for Saturday.